Hello, partners. It's been 2 months, almost 2 months, since we have here in Illinois and following a stay-at-home order. I wanted to just give an update. I know I said I wasn't going to do videos, but as I was writing you all this morning, I would just rather say these things to you. Also, I'm not sure how many of you read my emails, and I think maybe more of you will hit play on the video, I hope. So since we've been doing this stay-at-home order, Just Embrace has been using the trust and the relationships that we have with our direct neighbors on our block to kind of find our way in this season of disorientation. So what does it look like to be Just Embrace when we can't have people in our home, when we can't have large gatherings in our yard? You know, something that's really been striking me is how just deeply, painfully ironic this crisis is, because Just Embrace's purpose really is to overcome the social distancing that is kind of natural with the way that society views each other and misunderstands each other. And so here we are in this crisis where social distancing is the way to love each other. It just is really complicated to love my neighbors while social distancing from them. One of the things we've been doing is cooking lunch for our neighbors on Thursdays and Sundays. We have a wonderfully talented couple providing lunch on Sundays. That leaves me one day a week where I have to do the cooking, which is so helpful. The nursing home, our neighbors are shut in. They're only allowed out to smoke for very short periods at specific times of the day. They're not allowed out of their rooms to socialize with each other, to go to different floors to see their friends. And it's definitely weighing on our community. We found out recently that our patriarch, Lawrence, was diagnosed with COVID-19. I actually just spoke to him yesterday for the first time in a couple of weeks, and he sounded good, he sounded strong. A couple of our women who live in the nursing home that we're very close to, one of our community members, Jenny, she and I got burgers and laid out a blanket in front of the nursing home, sent a couple burgers up to them, and had a picnic just sitting out front in the little green space by the sidewalk. We were able to make connection with one of those women and just encourage her and be encouraged by her. When we were dropping off the burgers for the women, we saw our friend Israel in the lobby, and that was a huge treat to make connection with Israel. A general update for Just Embrace: we have lost 3 people in our community since March, and these were people who were intimately connected to Just Embrace in 3 very different and distinct ways for who they were and what they brought to the community. And our gate is continuing to be a place of communal grieving and just awareness and celebration. Since Just Embrace began, when we would lose a community member, we made memorial signs and connected them to the gate so that people who passed by would be able to see and remember and be made aware of the men and women who oftentimes just disappear in this community. This week I saw an article about a pastor in New York who used his church lawn to memorialize the lives that are being lost in New York to COVID-19, to give a visual of just the staggering death toll that's happening there in New York. Yesterday I had the idea of kind of adapting that to fit who Just Embrace is and the role we have in our community. And so I'm going to be ordering ribbons and Sharpies. What we want to do in a couple of weeks is offer them to our community to use as ways of tying their prayers and their griefs to our fence. We want to invite people in our neighborhood who have lost somebody to COVID-19 to write the name of that person, that loved one, and tie it to the fence, or to write a prayer or a thought and tie that to our gate, and have one ribbon to represent every death here in Chicago, and allow that to be just a way for our neighbors to engage visually with this crisis, a way to grieve together. Because there will be so many of these ribbons, I would love to ship some to you and invite you and your family to write your thoughts and your prayers. Send them back to me and I will attach those to our gate. So if you are interested in participating in that idea, please shoot me an email and let me know how many ribbons you'd like me to send. I will send those to you. I have an exciting financial update for Just Embrace. When all of this started, I reached out to you all to let you know that we understand the financial hardship that some of you, potentially many of you, would be facing as a result of this pandemic, and wanting to just release you from feeling obligated to continue to support Just Embrace financially if that would contribute to the hardship that you or people in your family or your community was experiencing. And so far, we have not changed any of our income, and that is not something I was expecting, and I'm very grateful, incredibly grateful for it. Also, that release still stands. Also, through social media and the way that we're telling our story, there have been dozens of new donors who have given one-time donations towards the work that we're doing. So what's really incredible about that is you as our monthly partners, as kind of our base and our foundation financially, your donations are able to keep us planted and rooted and preparing for what's next, while all of these new donations and these kind of one-time donations are providing potential new partnerships in the future for sure, but they're also helping us to fund what we're doing right now without having to dip into our safety net funding. And we don't know the future of our financial life as an organization in how this pandemic continues to affect the global economy. So this income that's coming is really helping to provide for the moment, while these relationships with you all are keeping us stable and giving us courage to continue to dream and think and plan whatever a future is going to look like once the dust kind of settles. Other ways that people have been donating and partnering with Just Embrace during this time, we have had several donations of homemade masks from all over the country. Being able to hand those out to our neighbors, it has been such a treat, especially as this week the law has been, if you want to go into the grocery store or any place of business, you must have a mask on. Our neighbors have shown such spontaneous and deep gratitude for the meals that we're providing. It's not like a gratitude for a handout. It's like a gratitude that I sense expresses an awareness of a shared burden that we're navigating together. I think that's an authentic read, and that just is so sustaining for me. A couple weeks ago, one of our neighbors who I haven't really spoken to before, but I've seen for many years walking back and forth on the block, rang the bell and offered me this Ziploc bag with $16.53 in it. I was shocked, and he explained in just a very kind of humble, nonchalant, almost uncomfortable way that he just saw what we were doing and he was supporting it. He still had his job and just wanted to offer what he could. That act of sacrificial support was so inspiring. 8 people so far have offered to double that and have donated as a way to honor his gift and kind of multiply his gift, which is very, very cool. Another neighbor one day a couple weeks ago handed me $50 for the work that we're doing. So the generosity on our block from our vulnerable and marginalized neighbors, it is exponentially more valuable than it is monetarily. It's encouraging, it's affirming, it's touching. It just really encourages me that we're doing the right thing and that God is providing in ways that God provides, not in ways that business models provide, not in ways that worldly wisdom suggests we pursue. So I'm holding on to these little gifts as ways to just sustain and encourage me, and I hope it will sustain and encourage you as well. So a little bit of a personal update. I finished my doctoral coursework, And now I just need to focus on getting my research approved and getting started on the research for my dissertation. I am definitely having a hard time being motivated right now. I'm loving and thriving off of the energy that comes from innovating new ways to love our community during a crisis. This is my jam. However, finishing my doctorate is a goal that is really going to help open up opportunities ahead for myself and for Just Embrace. And so I need to move forward and be committed to that. Also, I recently got published in the Wesleyan Church's blog. The link is in your email if you're interested in reading that. Also, as far as updating, Scout and I, if you haven't heard, are really living it up. We are going on adventures a couple times a week. Sometimes we are taking off to Indiana. It's difficult to leave the city when it's not on lockdown because there's so much traffic. And so we're taking advantage of the quiet streets and just hitting the road, going to the state parks in Indiana, hiking in the sand dunes and going to the beach there. It's been so helpful for me mentally and emotionally. And obviously Scout is having the time of her life. I have had 2 months off of work at Starbucks. They have actually paid us to be on leave while the store is shut down. And that has been a huge gift to not lose any income and not have to go into work. However, I am going back to work this week. I actually have 5 hours of training that I will be going to tomorrow before I'm allowed to work at the store. I definitely have mixed feelings about returning to work. I work at a job that makes coffee and lattes for people. It doesn't feel essential, but with the unemployment in our country right now, the fact that I have a job and I have a job with a company who is a stable company that has taken care of its employees with compassion so far, I'm really grateful, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue to work for Starbucks during this time. Also, I really can't wait to see our customers. I haven't done the best job of finishing up all of my calls with you. There are still a couple dozen of you that I would love to make contact with. So some of you are teachers and are still kind of in the thick of things, and some of you are homeschooling your kids. Would love to follow through and make all these connections. So if I have not reached out to you, please connect with me if you're willing. If I have reached out to you, please follow up and let's schedule a chat soon. I am so grateful for you all and just for the opportunity to innovate during this time, knowing that there is a network of supportive people all around the country who are really in this with me and with us. Thank you. Thank you for your love and your support. I will be in touch.